Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. With the new Harry Potter TV show on the still fairly distant horizon, more and more details about the show are slowly being unravelled. However, one recent bit of news that came to light a few days ago has left fans a little distraught. As far as writers, directors and producers are concerned, there are a lot of great names being thrown into the mix. These names include the likes of individuals such as Francesca Gardner, who will be serving as producer and writer, as well as Mark Mylod, who will be serving as director and producer. However, one thing that is drawing a certain degree of controversy is that of Andy Greenwald. Andy Greenwald is a television critic, writer, and podcaster, best known for his work in entertainment journalism and TV show creation. Greenwald is also known for co-hosting the popular podcast The Watch on the Ringer Network alongside Chris Ryan, where they discuss TV, movies, and pop culture trends. And it was on a recent episode of his podcast that Greenwald revealed a harrowing detail, at least from the fans' perspective, about his history with Harry Potter. We see Greenwald, who was recently revealed as a writer for the upcoming show, let it spill that he has never read the books. And the biggest problem here is that the TV show is supposed to be a faithful adaptation of these books. The series will be a faithful adaptation of the beloved Harry Potter book series by author and executive producer J.K. Rowling. The series will feature a new cast to lead a new generation of fandom, full of the fantastic detail and much-loved characters Harry Potter fans have loved for over 25 years. On The Watch podcast, he said the following in February of this year: that I think the pleasure that can be derived from that are probably not going to be for me because I didn't read all the books. I read them to my older daughter until she could read them for herself, and then she dusted me, and I think maybe there's some other creative possibilities within this world. He also went on to compare the potential of a Harry Potter show to Netflix's Avatar show, and criticized the way Max broadcast the showrunner finalists. This is upsetting news for a few reasons. First of all, how can we expect someone to faithfully adapt the books into a TV series when they haven't read said books? It would be one thing for him to work on a project in the same universe that, say, took a different direction, but for him to be involved with what is essentially a more book-accurate recreation seems highly unusual. But as it happens, even the Harry Potter films had their fair share of contributors that likely did not read the books, the most notable example perhaps being Mike Newell, who spearheaded Goblet of Fire. The evidence for this being that Newell admitted on numerous occasions that he was somewhat daunted by the sheer size of the book. Because Goblet of Fire is significantly longer and more complex than the books that came before it, his adaptation focused on key plot points and streamlined certain elements to fit the film's runtime, which meant omitting some subplots that were in the book. At give or take 734 pages, depending on the version you get, Goblet of Fire had a lot of information to cover, and it felt like Newell was a bit too reckless when it came to deciding what would and wouldn't be featured in the film. Pros include the Triwizard Tournament, the inclusion of other wizarding schools, and the return of Voldemort. Cons include an apparent lack of character development, particularly with characters like Barty Crouch Jr., and what I would describe as disregard for the source material. Apparently, Newell based his version of Hogwarts on his old boarding school, which probably wasn't a good thing to implement in the fourth installment of an existing and successful film franchise. Pacing in the film is a bit weird, with some scenes feeling rushed and underdeveloped, and others, such as the Yule Ball, feeling overly long. Overall, the film struggled to balance the various subplots and themes, resulting in a disjointed narrative that left me feeling a bit dissatisfied. In my opinion, it was the worst of the films, and I suppose this could perhaps be attributed to Newell's lack of Harry Potter knowledge. Many parts of me are wanting to be negative here, as this is some concerning news for the show. However, I'm going to flip-flop between some of the good and some of the bad, because the show still has a lot going for it. The first good thing is that it sounds as though he's at least read the first few books. The show is supposed to cover all of the books over a 10-year time span, which gives Greenwald more than enough time to prove himself, or potentially expose himself, in the first couple of seasons. It will be glaringly apparent to the diehards if they try and change the story too much, and that's one of the negatives I want to focus on. Greenwald says in the podcast, I think maybe there's some other creative possibilities within this world, and this is concerning to me because the very focus of the project is that it's a true recreation of the books. I think I speak for all Harry Potter fans when I say that we don't want you to deviate from the source material, and if you don't believe me, go and see what everyone is saying on Reddit. Every fan who grew up reading these books and watching the films has a deep connection to the characters, settings, and stories as they are. The thought of too many creative liberties or reinterpretations would really disrupt what made these books special in the first place. Fans want accuracy. We want the storylines we know and love to remain intact because we've seen what happens when creative teams explore other possibilities. It often results in unnecessary changes that detract from the essence of the original. It's understandable that new creators want to make their own mark on such a massive franchise, but this is one project where the focus should be on faithfully adapting the books. There's a reason the fanbase remains so passionate after all these years. The source material is beloved as is. Fans want to see the rich details of the world they envisioned while reading, nothing more, nothing less. So hearing suggestions of creative liberties, no matter how small, is a red flag for those of us hoping for a faithful adaptation. Flip-flopping back to some good news, however, is that Greenwald has plenty of time to just read them, and perhaps he's already doing just that. After all, the quote that we're dissecting is from back in February. We also don't know the full extent of Greenwald's involvement as a writer on this project. So far, the only indication of his connection comes from his profile in the Screenwriters Guild, leaving it unclear how deeply he will be involved in shaping the series. It's hard to determine whether he'll have a significant creative role or more of a limited contribution. Furthermore, writers, directors, and producers change all of the time on these longer projects. Just look at the Harry Potter films if you need an example. At the end of the day, here's where I stand. While this news is disconcerting, I still believe the show has a lot of potential. With key Harry Potter veterans like J.K. Rowling and David Heyman involved at a higher level, there's hope that their influence will keep the project on track and true to the source material. Their experience and connection to the original story could be the anchor that ensures the series stays faithful to what fans love. There are also many other positives that we can focus on, like the fact that they're not rushing it. While Warner Bros. CEO David Zaslav had previously hinted at a 2025 premiere, HBO's CEO and chairman Casey Bloys shared that the timeline has been pushed back. The network is now targeting a release somewhere between late 2026 and 2027. There's also the budget. As far as the reboot is concerned, no expenses will be spared. According to sources, HBO has allocated a whopping $250 million for the production of the new series, a budget even higher than HBO's House of the Dragon. And lastly, there's the fact that casting has begun for the beloved trio. This is encouraging because it means the wheels are finally in motion for the show. Anyway, that's it for today's video. What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.